Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the New York State Bridge Authority meeting. Today is December 22nd, Thursday, 3 p.m., 3:15, 3:17. We have amended agenda. Can we make a motion to approve the amended agenda?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
What the amendment is on engineering, we have number D, bearing purchase of I-84 over 9W deck replacement project. And we'll discuss that later in the meeting. And saying that, before we proceed, we have a Finance Committee and Grievance Committee report. Mr. Dressel, you're the Chairman of Finance of the County.
Okay. All right, so third, we'll move the adoption of the meeting to the last minute on September 20th.
So moved.
Second?
Second, okay. First, we're all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, next one is to review the annual report subcommittees. Is Brian, you're going to hit the high spots there?
Absolutely. Okay, annually as required by ABO guidelines as well as the committee charter, the Finance Committee is obligated to review its performance for the preceding or ending year. Effectively, the Finance Committee met its obligations in the various areas related to reviewing the authority's financial position, reviewing the authority's budget, and reviewing its own charter to ensure that the authority is financially in good standing. The Finance Committee met 4 times as required during the year in March, September, May, and December. Okay, overall, the Finance Committee feels that it has met all of its obligations as required, and this document goes and is going to serve as evidence supporting that assertion.
So, you may have any other questions? Sounds like we were good people and abided by the law.
Under your great leadership.
So,
Gratifications on all of you.
So, do we have to approve that report?
No.
Or
You're going to recommend it to be
Recommend it to the board.
adopted at the board meeting.
Okay. So,
I'll make a motion to move it to the full director board.
second.
Second.
Okay, we're all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay. Is there any other old business? I don't have any.
Nope.
Okay, so motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second?
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dressel. Next, we have our Governance Committee report. Myself as chairman.
Excuse me, we skipped audit.
We
Do you
skipped
want to do
audit.
audit first?
That's you.
I know.
Sorry.
I know.
Sorry, that's why I skipped it.
I'm waiting for the chairman to recognize that fact.
Anyway, audit, Mr. Higgins, you're chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
It's your belly whack now.
Thank you. First order of business is to adopt the minutes of the September 20, 2017 Committee of the Whole meeting.
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Next is a review of the annual report on committee activities. Everybody received the review in their packets, and I will assume that everyone had a chance to look it over. Brian is here. Do you want to add anything, Brian? Or if there are questions, you'd certainly entertain them, but...
Just to confirm, similar to the Finance Committee, the committee met 4 times during the year in March, May, September, and December. The committee's charter is attached. This is a review of the annual charter to ensure that there are no desired changes. The committee served its purpose reviewing the audit results from the authority's 2016 audit back in March of 2017. And other than that, we believe that the committee has achieved all of its intended goals for the year.
And we'll move the summary along to the full board meeting as well, correct? Or do we need to just approve it?
Motion to recommend it to the board.
Okay.
So move.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Is there any other business to come before the audit committee this afternoon? Seeing none, motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
Second? All in favor? Aye. We are
Aye.
adjourned, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, did a heck of a job.
Thank you.
Next, we have our governance committee meeting. There again, the minutes are January 19th meeting. Commissioner Higgins, Commissioner Stanton on this committee with myself. We'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
we have Mr. Tom Spaglione who's going to go through some 3 items here. Tom?
So the first is we have to authorize the annual confidential survey of the commissioners regarding board performance. This is what we submit in January to the authority budget office. So if you authorize, I will distribute the confidential surveys.
Move to authorize?
Go ahead.
Move to authorize.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you.
So these are addressed to me. Once you complete the survey, just address it to myself, and then I will confidentially compile and then file with the ABO once you authorize that at the January board meeting.
Thank you, Thomas.
Next.
Next, you're going to do the review of governance committee charter, authority's mission statement, performance measurements.
Correct. So, we're required to make an annual review of the committee's charter and the authority mission statement performance measurements. Both documents were attached for your review. The charter was last amended on June 17th, 2010. No changes are recommended at this time. And the mission statement and performance measurement was last amended on September 29th, 2011. And no changes are recommended at this time.
Make the motion to accept that we are not going to make any changes at this time.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Harry.
I recommend, I
You got the
recognize
next one.
seniority.
You got the next one.
Last one, Thomas?
Yep. So again, this is our Governance Committee Annual Report. Attaches the draft 2017 Governance Committee Annual Report for consideration. After review, the committee may send this report to the Board of Commissioners, fulfilling the charter requirement.
You want to make a motion?
I move.
Second?
Second.
Yep, please. Discussion? Roll call, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, and doing that, we'll commence our monthly meeting. Before that, we're going to introduce our commissioners. My left here, going around the table, with Commissioner Ron Dressel, our Deputy Executive Director, Tara Sullivan, our Commissioner Diane Domblowski, our Commissioner Roger Higgins, our Commissioner Harry Stanton, our Counsel Carl Whitback, and our Executive Director Joseph Ruggiero, and myself as Chairman Richard Jerrington. Saying all that, motion to adopt the regular meeting of November 16th, 2017.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Next, we have Mr. Russo.
Good afternoon.
How are you today?
Good. Happy holidays.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Oh, no. Did we adopt the board meeting minutes?
that we just did.
We
yeah.
just did.
You
Oh,
just did this.
sorry. I apologize.
I have 2 items under Administration and Human Resources. The first being our invoice we received from the Easy Pass Interagency Group for our assessment for our annual membership for 2018. The assessment remains at $25,000 a year, and there's a resolution there to approve that payment.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Next.
Okay, and the next item is a renewal. It's the 4th year of a 4-year agreement. We engaged the workplace Easy Pass, or the Workplace Employee Assistance Program through Mid-Hudson Regional Hospital at Westchester Medical Center over in Poughkeepsie. They provide counseling services to the organization, both from an organizational standpoint, should we have incidents on the premises here where we need to counsel employees or organizationally, or also for our employees to avail themselves and their families for personal matters. So this is the 4th year of that agreement. It's based on a per employee fee, and that fee has amounted to just under $5,000 a year. And so there's a resolution there to award that last year of this agreement.
So moved.
Second, please.
Second.
Robert, approximately how many people have utilized this service?
Well, usually they send us a report. I haven't received it yet. They're not allowed to obviously tell us what their meeting employees about. They do give us statistics on how many avail themselves. It's a significant number of people do that, but even more importantly, we as an organization have used them quite a bit in the last year. We've had some incidents out on the bridges where our employees came into contact with some difficult situations, and we've had them come in and do some group, basically group counseling, group therapy, and it's proven to be very beneficial.
This is former St. Francis Hospital?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. The authority's been with these guys for
long
more than
time.
30, about 30, almost
Yeah.
30 years.
They do a nice
And,
job.
yeah.
They really come in.
Yeah.
And as Bob said, when we have a trauma that affects the employees here, it's just protocol now that they're brought in to talk to our folks.
Yeah, and they really appreciate it.
Yeah.
It's not, taken for granted. They really appreciate it.
Yeah. They've also provided some training and classes to our employees at our request as well, as part of this agreement.
Any other questions? If not, roll call. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Robert.
Thank you.
Jeff?
Good afternoon.
How are you?
Very good. Yourself?
Good.
First up, back in May of 2016, we advertised for system-wide construction inspection services for the 2016-17 construction season. We received 10 proposals from engineering firms. So we shortlisted the best of those firms to 3 and asked them to provide cost proposals for the I-84 over 9W project that's coming up this coming year. Of the 3 firms, 1 failed to respond. 2 firms we got prices from. KS Engineers was chosen as the best qualified firm with a not-to-exceed cost of $626,425. We'd like to have them approved to do the construction inspection for the upcoming project.
So moved.
Second, please.
Second.
Questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Next.
The 2018 budget for treated salt procurement, the OGS contract has been extended through September 30th of next year. We've estimated quantities that we need at each facility, which we'll have separate purchase orders for throughout the year. We expect the total not to exceed $126,124.16.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Same price as last year?
Actually, it's down slightly from last year, the unit
Oh, really?
price.
Yeah.
Can I assume that we are still using salt on the approach roadways, but not on the bridges?
It's a mixture on the bridges.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Next. Hot mix.
Hot mix asphalt for the Newburgh Beacon salt shed that was recently constructed. We paved the salt sheds. We had initially had a purchase order in the amount of $14,150, which was less than what was required for board approval. However, during the paving process, we used more asphalt than anticipated. The new total for the materials is $19,121.02, which will be expensed in the in-house capital program for 2017.
So moved.
Second, please.
Second.
Any discussion? If not, roll call. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Next is the new item, bearing purchase.
Right, you can pass these around. Since we had to rebid the I-84/9W deck replacement project. The bids won't be due till the February board meeting now. So one of the long lead items of that project is the bearings, specifically the seismic bearings. So what we opted to do was to have the authority go out and get prices for the bearings. We'll purchase them, and then the contractor will install them. It will save months of lead time, and it'll be able to keep us on schedule to get the project done in 2018 and 2019. So we solicited bids for the bearings. You can see on the attachment the firms that bid the various bearings: seismic, elastomeric, and multi-rotational. We propose to issue separate purchase orders for each of the different bearings to the low bidders. And you can see on the chart there, dynamic isolation systems for $43,000 for the seismic bearings, Scrugel rubber for the elastomeric bearings at $26,258, and R.J. Watson for the multi-rotational bearings for $61,699.40.
You're comfortable that these are qualified vendors?
These vendors are all on the New York State approved list.
So moved.
Second, please.
Second.
Question on the
These bearings.
multiple.
How long do these bearings last, would you anticipate? Because these are the things that have to be changed.
These will last for quite some time. Yeah.
Longer than we will.
Okay.
No, they're there for more than 25 years.
Jeff, on the multi-rotational bearings, why we didn't go with the DS Brown bid, the 57,000 versus?
The problem with DS Brown and Scott on the multi-rotational bearings is they did not include independent testing in their bids. So we ended up going with R.J. Watson. The actual testing fee in their proposal was about $18,000. So had these other firms provided that, it would have been more money.
Any other questions? If
Where
not,
are these companies, New York State or where, East Coast company, where are they based out of?
Well, they're all over the place. Yeah, they're not just New York State firms. They have headquarters in Indiana or Texas. Yep.
any other questions? Now roll call, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Next.
Engineering jobs in progress. At the Rip Van Winkle Bridge, the sidewalks and railings have all been installed on that project. We have the extra railing on the parapet will be finished in spring. The walkway, the walkway over the Hudson, steel repair design is finished. It's been reviewed by our office with some comments sent back. We anticipate going out to bid in January or February at the latest. And the Mid-Hudson Bridge, steel repairs are on schedule. We're performing some extra repairs right now on the sidewalks. And the Newburgh Beacon Bridge, steel repairs, extra work will be done in the spring. The catwalk lowering project is on schedule for completion at the end of next year. And the 9W deck raising is out to bid as mentioned.
Move to accept the jobs in progress report.
Second, please.
Second.
Questions? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you.
Brian, financial.
Okay, first up is the monthly investment report. The REIT investments for the month, all of a routine nature. They are all reflected in the investment inventory report. Currently, the maintenance reserve fund balance is $51.4 million. All of the investments have led to an investment yield of 1.08, slightly down from the prior month.
Move to accept the investment report.
Second, please.
Second.
Questions? Roll call, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Next.
Okay, next up, Title 21, New York Codes, Rules, Regs, Section 201 establishes our bridge toll, subject to conditions of Section 201.6. Effectively, each year annually, we need to go and extend the Easy Pass discount structure embedded within our toll schedule. This resolution will extend it for an additional year from last year to December 31, 2018.
So moved.
Second.
Questions? Roll call, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Next.
Okay, next up, the annual bridge property and loss of revenue insurance renewal. Back in 2016, we went out for an RFP. We were able to receive a commitment to receive the same rates, with the only changes being the incremental increases in appraised values. The appraised values for our bridges increased 3.1%. Conveniently, we had our premium increase only 3%. It's an increase from $858,154 to $883,934.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Question? All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. No information technology report, bridge operation. Scott?
Afternoon, everybody. I have 3 items today for the board. First is our armored car service contract. Last year, the board approved a 3-year contract with an additional option for 2 years at a 3% increase per year. And the first year ends January 31st, so asking for approval for the funding for the second year in the amount not to exceed $31,500. That cost is in addition to any fuel surcharges that we may incur. They've been running about 12% of the base cost over this year. And also the 3% increase applies to the excess time at facility fees.
So moved.
Second? Second, please.
Second.
All right. Questions?
Just out of curiosity, we have, now that we're getting a significant increase in the use of Easy Pass, are we seeing any major reductions in the amount of cash we're handling? Is that reflected in any of this, or is it?
We are seeing that amount, but
I realize we're also getting more traffic.
We are seeing it as far as deposits. We've seen over the last few years. Remember that every 3% reduction or increase in Easy Pass percentage winds up in about a 10% reduction in cash. When I first got here back around 2010, we were pulling in about $110,000 a day in cash. Now it's down to 60 or 70. Even going
despite the traffic increases.
Despite the traffic increases, Easy Pass has consistently increased. In addition to that, we've gone and changed the schedules with which we go and do our, courier deposits. Okay, we continually go and monitor and have also revised staffing at each of the facilities to go and reflect the reduction, if you will, in cash volume.
The answer is yes.
But the actual cash volume
down to 3-day-a-week pickups at the small bridges.
Which 3 day a week
at Newburgh were 6.
Any other questions? Now roll call, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Next.
Next is the Mid-Hudson Bridge traffic control. We have a dedicated state police there for our AM and PM traffic control. And this year, they are asking for a 31% increase in cost. The last
They're not
increase.
shy, are they?
Well, they left us alone for quite a few
that
years.
has been a lot. I thought so too until I saw the number of years.
Yeah, yeah. So 2006 was the last increase, and that was an 11% increase. This will increase what we have budgeted for 2018 by $30,000. Brian, I've spoken with Brian, and he will work to find that and some other line items to cover that increase.
Get a time claimant plan or something.
We are asking for approval of a not to exceed amount of $125,000 for.
Do you want to do the motion? I have just a couple of questions.
Yeah, make them.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All right, go on.
I'm just curious. I noticed recently we had an incident, a major traffic incident on the bridge, but the city and the town responded rather than the state troopers?
Yeah, I believe that was outside of the hours that they are there, just by about 45
They
minutes or
don't,
so.
they don't exercise primary responsibility, they're just
Well, you know,
closest one in.
when they call 911, that was on the Poughkeepsie side, so Poughkeepsie's going to respond. And then, of course, in something as serious as this, Lloyd is going to respond as well. And once they get so many agencies on the scene, you know, they kind of work out who's going to be there.
Right.
You know, so many cars on the bridge, but, you know, the fire departments usually take charge when they're there.
It's interesting because years ago, the city of Poughkeepsie would not respond. In fact, one time we contracted with the state to respond because they wouldn't.
Yeah, City of Poughkeepsie's still kind of odd in that way, and we have issues from time to time. They have a split kind of system over there, from what I understand,
Yep.
where they have their own 911
Dispatch.
dispatch. Yeah.
Well, apparently, technically, the bridge from the abutment to roughly to the center line is not in the city of Poughkeepsie. It's in the town.
But our accidents only happen in the city.
Yeah, I've always noticed that, for a fact.
It just works out that way.
Any other questions? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Next.
Okay, so save the largest for last. That's the third quarter throughway, our expenses for Easy Pass for the Thruway Authority. That amount is $1,027,403.47 for the third quarter. And we ask for your approval.
So moved.
Second. Second.
That works out to how much for the, I know the answer, but I want.
I know you do. I'm looking up to
18.4 cents.
18.4%.
That's, yeah, cents.
Yeah.
Which is significantly lower than manual collection.
Well, actually, it's a little bit lower than that if you take out the fees for the computer programmer that we, salary we pay once a year in the third quarter. So it's closer to 17 cents.
Any other questions? Roll call. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Pat.
That's it. Thank you.
Reports to the board, executive director.
You have my monthly expense report, which has no expenses on it. You have the November 2017 traffic and revenue analysis report, which is showing that we are just, for revenues, we're slightly below this point last year of 153,000, but traffic is up slightly, but by the year end, we remain relatively flat year over year in terms of revenue. You also have the 2017 Easy Pass sales analysis report. Just for the commissioner's information, we have put up a seasonal ad as we do every year promoting Easy Pass as a great holiday gift, and from what we're hearing from the bridges this past week, last minute holiday shopping seems to be going well.
Easy Pass is a Christmas gift.
Stocking stuffer.
It's a stocking stuffer.
Who knew?
Right, it's working. With that, I will turn over, if there's no questions, I'll turn over to Tara for historic bridges.
Thank you, Joe. Everybody, you have a full report from Kathy and me on our expenditures, our savings account balance, as well as the projects we've been doing. Historic Bridges of the Hudson Valley has given you a complimentary full set of bridge magnets for your fridge. And you also have a staff newsletter just to see what's going on. Chris Bieber does this now, this newsletter, and the employees love it.
That's great.
Yes?
One thing, Harry, I don't know if you were going to mention, but
Yeah.
the-
My please note.
yes, please, you too.
Okay, so I did point out under special notes, to please note that the balance reflecting our donations from Columbia Memorial Health, as well as the 2 master teacher programs that Kathy has been working on, we now have a savings account donations balance of $22,661.66, which is a third of our yearly budget.
Tara, are you selling these magnets, or?
We have them available for purchase. Yeah,
We
Yeah,
just
I
haven't
think
promoted selling them yet.
Yeah,
We
like-
tried it at the art festival.
that's right.
Uh-huh.
We sold some,
They weren't
Yeah, I
artsy
can see
enough
that.
but
Yeah.
we're going to put them out there.
yeah.
Mhm.
They're very nice.
Carl
Thank you.
threw them all. So.
And Harry.
Being the artist that Thanks, Rich.
No.
Well, actually, Carl is a descendant of a very famous Pennsylvania artist. So.
Is that right?
That's why I
Just
said
saying.
that, you know. I
Oh,
knew
oh,
that.
Rich knew, of course. He was his biographer. Just goes to show you.
Ricochet right back. You know you can't.
Just goes to show you that genes don't always.
And, well, actually, they are John Gould illustrations who did the 50th anniversary illustrations.
Well, thank you again on behalf of the board. Thank you very much.
I just want to add that we're really pleased on how well the community is responding to the activities of the historic bridges. And Kathy has been a great ambassador out there for us. And it really is beginning to become part of the, especially with the onset of the skywalk and everything else, it's really becoming something people are recognizing, and we see a lot of opportunities there. So I think we're going in the right direction.
And when she presents to master teachers, you figure one teacher master teachers go, they take that to their school, they take it to the other teachers, they take it to all the students. So the historic bridge education is exponentially growing by leaps and bounds thanks to this organization and Kathy's good work.
Very good. Any questions? No, if not, next, we're going to go to our annual reports that, well, we spoke about them earlier, the presentations from the various chairmen of the different committees that we have. The first one, we do all three at one time? Sure.
Yeah, I think,
All three, please. A motion to accept the annual committee reports of the audit committee, finance committee, and the governance committee.
so,
Second.
Any questions? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And engineering bridge inspection, presentation to the board. Yep. Mr. Joe?
Okay. Someone who does the light light.
Do you guys get the lines?
Yeah. Well, I think it's.
That should be
it's
good.
fine, yeah, we're good.
These here are our annual reports that we get from our consultants, and what I'll do is I'm going to give you a summary of the areas that we need to be a little concerned about and take some care to repair or rehab. So what you'll see in the presentation here are the concerned areas, but overall the bridges are in good overall condition.
Before you start, may I just interject, Jeff? Just for the newer commissioner, I know Harry already knows this, there are certain conditions that we are monitored, and we label things as flags, red flag, yellow flag, and no flag, right?
Safety flag.
Safety flag. We only have in our entire feet of paper there one yellow flag, which means we need to take corrective action immediately. But that is a good news story, so we're going to get into all that. But we've never had a red flag in the industry with ours.
So each year, half the bridges receive a maintenance inspection, and half receive a biennial inspection. The biennial inspections are the ones that are required by the federal government every 2 years. So rather than us just inspecting each bridge every 2 years, we inspect each bridge every year, and we do a maintenance inspection just for our own well-being. So in 2017,
So this is the part you use your imagination.
Well, we see he's found no flags.
That's right.
okay, we're done.
Maybe, if, Julie, if you could just...
You can just do
try
it
again,
yourselves
Jeff.
if you want.
Just cue her to do it.
Yeah.
There we go.
I'm watching it move.
We're not.
There we go, okay.
So this year we did maintenance inspections on Rip Van Winkle, Mid Hudson, and the Bear Mountain bridges. And then we did biennial inspections on Kingston and both Newburgh Beacon bridges. The current rating system is condition states 1 through 5, 1 being good, 2 fair, 3 poor, 4 severe. These were new starting a couple years ago, and at last year's meeting you were indoctrinated into the new rating system.
You did mention number 5 there. That was.
Which doesn't apply.
Oh, well, when you should record on 5 is unknown.
That's right. So we can't rate the things that we can't see. So piers that are underwater, we can't rate. The Rip Van Winkle Bridge, overall, it's in good condition. The paint system is good condition overall. The steel railings had areas of severe section loss previously noted, have been replaced as the railing replacement project is substantially complete. There's continued evidence of movement restriction of the main span, suspended span. It's monitored every inspection cycle. It's not a concern other than we need to monitor it to make sure that we don't have overstress in other areas. So we monitor the piers, we monitor the other expansions on either side of this suspended span to make sure we don't have too much stress.
Do you have any idea what's causing that?
It's the pins could be binding up some, and so it's not allowed to move so much. It's a really funky span where you've got pins inside of a box steel section, and so you have compression and tension being taken by different members, and it's just not moving as
we
originally
did replace
intended.
those pins at one time, am I right? Many years ago?
Maybe a long time ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. But every once in a while, we'll take the pin caps off and we'll analyze the pin to make sure that there's no cracks or deterioration inside. Some areas of unsound spalled deck, typically near where we have through holes in the deck. They're out there, they're repaired as required. The full deck is scheduled for replacement in 2027. We have some cracked tack welds on critical members are monitored each inspection cycle. 5 of the more critical areas will be removed in 2018. These tack welds, when they're partially cracked, they have the potential of then cracking into the substrate metal, which is why we monitor them and why in fracture critical members we grind them off so that will not happen.
Those tack walls have no structural function.
They're there when they built the bridge just to hold the members in place while they could get the rivets installed. Yeah, so once the rivets are there, they have no purpose in life.
Other than to cause trouble.
So then do the rivets take up for the expansion and contraction with the hot, cold weather?
No, well, they're fixing the bridge, so the expansion and contraction happens at the end of the, span, whatever you're dealing with.
Expansion
there.
joints.
Yeah. Yep. So every so many 100 feet or so, you'll
this
have
is where
expansion. Yeah, like this here is an expansion joint at the west end of the Rip Van Winkle Bridge. We've got some deck joint deterioration with some underlying metalwork deterioration. The west abutment joint is scheduled to be repaired with the truss link this coming year. Also at Rip Van Winkle, we've got some high-mast light poles. In the previous inspection, some cracks were noted. We've repaired those. This picture is at the bottom of one of the light poles, or high-mast light towers, number 1. We've got some section loss here, you can see, in the steel, and also some ponding water. So we'll be cleaning and painting this area and unclogging the drain holes. Many of these high-mast poles, you don't have access to inside, so what we've done is we have the contractors do D-meter readings, they call it. It's a meter that they can hold on the outside of the tower, and it will read the thickness of the metal. So if you have deterioration, we find out that way. But this is the only one that was of any particular concern this year. Then over at Kingston Rhinecliff, again, it's in overall good condition. The paint system is good overall. We've got some substructure cracking and spalling, which is scheduled for repairs in 2019. This crack here is at the top of one of the piers. This surface here is actually where the bearing sits on, just off the picture.
But brown streak on the lower right side.
Yeah, that's some rust
It's a rebar
bleeding
close to the
through from the
surface.
rebar underneath.
That bridge has a history of dating back to its construction when rebars were remarkably close to the surface of the concrete. And I remember one time we sealed it.
Yeah, we have sealed them in the past, right?
That's something we always had to watch on that bridge. But construction inspection is extremely important.
And then here, some deck joints are beginning to leak, leading to corrosion of the nearby metalwork. We're scheduled to put a new overlay on in 2020, which will help with that condition. We have some cracking in secondary floor members here. There's a crack just right here. That's in a diaphragm between stringers. Let's see. We have typically done repairs. We drill a hole at the end of the crack. They're called the rest holes. And that typically will stop the crack from continuing on. It relieves the tension in that area so the crack can't propagate. The exothermic deck is in good overall condition with some localized areas of corrosion. And the overlay has a few failures throughout. Again, as mentioned, the new overlay is scheduled for 2020. And we'll just be repairing potholes as they develop until then. Again, we've got the tack weld here with a crack that we continue to monitor. And then for the biennial inspections, as part of the federal requirements, this is the rating system. So you see your condition states 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5. This is the total quantity of a particular element. So this is steel deck corrugated. We have 332,000 total square feet. 315,000 are in conditions at state 1, 16,602, and only 650 in 3. So you can see that most of our conditions will be in the 2 range or the 1, with very, very few in the 3 and 4 throughout the various different elements that we have here. And
Who does our welding? Do we do it in-house or?
I'm sorry?
Who does our welding?
We can do some welding. If it's really structural, we'll have it done by a contractor. We'll put that in the steel repair contract. Or if we have to do something emergency-wise, we'll use the emergency services contractor. Mid-Hudson Bridge is in overall good condition. We've got some isolated areas of deterioration of the paint system. There's some restricted movement of the roadway stringer bearings at the towers. However, they've been repaired under the existing steel repair contract, which is finishing up out there now. I couldn't get a photo of that. It's a tough area to get a picture of. Sidewalk stringers have some deterioration of at the bearing areas. These areas have or had guide plates that they covered up the stringer webs there so that to keep them in line. However, it made it hard for the inspectors to see what was going on underneath. So we've removed several of these in areas where we noted some corrosion, and in the future we'll be taking more off to make sure that we're seeing everything we need to see. Over at the Route 9 southbound overpass, there was a crack here in one of the floor beams. We've since repaired that area with a new plate and bolts as part of the steel repair contract. And also the bearings on that bridge were sliding piston bearings which were frozen not allowing expansion movement. They have been replaced in kind. Main cables and suspenders are in satisfactory to good condition. We've got an in-depth inspection scheduled for 2018. We began that down at Bear Mountain this year, and we'll be continuing that job down there and also up at Mid-Hudson. We've got some wear of the truss pins here at the links and bearings. It's normal wear. This is something that continues to be monitored during our inspections. And eventually, if the wear gets too excessive, then we would have to replace the pin and the bronze bearings around the pin. The grid deck is in satisfactory condition with some areas of moderate to severe corrosion on the overhangs. We'll be monitoring and maintenance painting these areas with our own forces next year. The overlay on the deck is minor to moderate deterioration. It's scheduled for replacement in 2019. And we've got some broken anchor bolts that hold the two-rail railing up. It's right on the curb line. We're investigating repair solutions. It's a difficult repair. The anchor bolts when they go through the curb, they're encased in concrete there, and so when the anchor bolt shears off, it's difficult for us to pull them out, put a new one in. We've had to core drill around the bolt to get it out. I've been talking with M&M. We're coming up with some ideas for a better solution to that. And then as light standards need to be repaired or replaced, we take them out of service and put a new light pole up, as we did in this condition. At Newburgh Beacon North, it's in satisfactory condition, and most of that is due to the deck is in fair condition with isolated areas in poor condition. Under the deck, we've done shoring as needed. It's currently on the capital program to be replaced in 2021 and 2023. The west approach pavement is cracking with potholes. This area will be replaced as part of the Route 9W overpass deck rehab project, which is out to bid now. So starting this coming year and the following year, this will all be part of that rehab work. We have some spalling of the concrete piers behind the granite blocks. This is down around this area at the base of the piers. And we have a pier repair contract that's scheduled to take care of that in 2019. And the I-84 over 9W structure is in fair condition with quite a few deficiencies, all of which will be repaired in the coming contract. And here are the quantity summaries for the Newburgh North Bridge. And at the south span, it's in satisfactory condition. Items of concern that came up during this inspection were some cracks. Some cracks in some of the diaphragms for the sidewalk. And you can see we've drilled the rest holes to take care of them. We've got some severe deterioration at some of the webs that's of the members that support the deck, the sidewalk deck. Our maintenance forces have been able to take care of these areas. We've replaced probably about 4 or 5 areas this past year, and we've got a couple that we have shored up that we'll be replacing next year. And this past year, we painted the underside, we cleaned and painted the underside of the deck to help prevent this from accelerating deterioration from the weathering steel. Areas that weren't painted in previous work, the girder spans and the through truss areas were painted this year. We had a couple cracks in girder diaphragm connections, and repair details are being developed for repairs in 2018. And here we had some cracks here at the bottom of a stiffener for stringers. Again, they'll be repaired in 2018. And corrosion inside the bottom cords has been an issue. It's been on the horizon, and it was painted, cleaned and painted in this past repair contract. So all of the panel points where the verticals and diagonals come down into the bottom cord, they've all been cleaned, painted, and sealed up top so that hopefully water won't get in the future. Here we've got some false cord wearing here at the pin and up top. These are being repaired under the existing contract. Contractor's scheduled to be back there in spring of 2018 to repair these areas. These areas have been getting worse over quite a few years, and although they're not a big structural issue, it's just a aesthetic thing that looks
Explain
bad.
the false cord.
So what happens is, you know how the shape, you have that bell shape of the through truss that comes up above the deck. The top cord goes along. There's 4 areas of that top cord where there's no real stress going through the member up there. It's not a required member. You could leave it out, but as people drive over and you see potentially a piece of the bridge missing, so they put it in. They make it look good. So it's not a big structural issue. This here is a picture of our only yellow flag. This year we had deterioration in one of the girders at the west abutment, and this is a stringer that holds up the sidewalk that has some section loss also. So with it being designated a yellow flag, it needs to be repaired before the next inspection cycle. We've got the repair details. We've got a price from the contractor. They'll be fixing that shortly.
You're going to use the existing contract to do that?
We're using either our steel repair contract, or actually it's the same contractor, but it may be under the emergency contract. Because we've done some extra work already with the steel repair contract, so it's just a matter of where we are in the
You
budget.
cut all that corrosion out and put in.
They'll clean it up, and then they'll bolt on plates on the outside.
Yeah, okay.
Yep. And
Core 10?
This is the Core 10 weather.
It's in the Core 10.
Yep.
That's the one that's never going to
See
rust.
yeah we
It's
have
the rust-proof bridge.
The rust-proof.
That's right.
One that would never need to be painted.
Never.
Maintenance free.
We painted a lot of that bridge. I've been on many paint contracts on the bridge.
Well, not all ideas are good ones.
And this is just our summary of the Newburgh South Bridge. You can see our steel protective coating item has some areas of 4, because that was this inspection was before the paint contract was completely done. But we've got other areas that we have to keep watching. And then the Bear Mountain Bridge is in good condition. We've got some spalling with exposed rebar on the deck. We have done some shoring and repair work already to 2 areas on the bridge, mostly on the east approach. But the deck is scheduled for replacement in 2025.
Why? You got adjoining sections that are virtually immaculate,
Yeah.
and then you've
Yep.
got those 2
And as you say, Harry, sometimes the rebar is, placed too close, and then, it can happen. A lot of times it's happening on this bridge is there were drainage holes put through the deck when they put the overlay on. Underneath the overlay, they put a hole through the deck so that if water got through, it could get out. And those are the areas where you'll find some of this problem. We've got some isolated areas of paint failures. This is not a big area, but it's an area that needs to get cleaned and painted. It's part of the main cable and suspender inspection will be completed next year. And here we got some crevice corrosion, some cracked weld here on this cover plate. We'll probably end up bolting, putting some bolts in to hold that instead of the weld. Here, where we do have some water penetrating through the deck, maintenance has installed shielding over some of the steel members to keep the water from collecting and the debris from collecting there and rusting the members. We replaced light pole.
Excuse me, say, as you're looking at this stuff, keep in mind, much of what you're looking at is 100 years old, close to.
We've, this past cycle was the first time we had some new consultants doing the biennial inspections this year. And the consultant we had at the Kingston Bridge couldn't believe the condition that the bridge was in, how good it was in.
Good. I've heard many reports where they really couldn't believe it.
They inspect the New York City bridges and bridges all around the country, and they're just amazed at how well the bridge has been maintained.
Am I correct?
Newer bridges too.
Well, 1957, yeah. But look at that. I mean, much of what we're talking about.
This bridge is over 90 years old, and you can still read the Carnegie steel symbol on the steel.
Yeah.
So we've replaced the old cracked light standard here with a new one this past fall. We've had some issues with the guide plates being in contact with the suspenders here. You can see our maintenance guys have removed the plates so that there's no wear happening on the suspenders.
What is the purpose of a guide plate that we're able to remove it like that?
I don't know exactly why they had to have them on. They don't need to be there.
Okay.
I mean, they do, initially they made sure that everything was lined up, but as things wear in and the way the suspenders are connected underneath, they're on some curved bearings where they can move, as they need to with loads as they go over the bridge. So sometimes they'll get stuck in a position, and then as they get more load, they may bend more, and then that's where this guide plate starts coming into contact. So we've gotten them out of the way to, So that's a summary of the worst spots on our bridges.
Any questions?
Thank you. That was excellent presentation.
I just wanted to bring to the board's attention, I wanted to welcome back Chris Kelly to our team. We missed his year sabbatical outside the authority, and welcome him back with open arms. So he's going to be heading up our toll tech group, and he's going to be doing a good job. And with that, we could adjourn the hearing.
Any old business?
Mr. Chairman, I have new business. New business. I would like to ask Council Whitbeck here if he would draft a resolution honoring the memory of Raphael Klein, who was a member of this board for 20 years, passed away recently, who was at one time chairman of the authority. I think it was very nice of us to remember both his our issue of condolences and appreciation for his efforts on our behalf, and send it to his two daughters.
When did you start, Harry?
He was here when I came, and he was here when I left.
Mid-80s to...
Mid-80s to
2003.
Okay.
Any other new business? We have attorney-client privilege that we're going into, correct? We're not going to make any decisions, we're just going to...
Sure. Yes, we don't need to come back.
Any other business? If not, the motion to adjourn.
So moved.
And before we adjourn, I wish everybody a happy and healthy holidays. Enjoy yourself, you and your family, and everybody have a great time. Our next meeting is January 18, 2018, of the new year. Saying that, all in favor to adjourn, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.